Okay, come on.
Good or better? Oh, see now it really, yeah.
So it did this like oh it's
Connection
working.
now, so I think we should shut
It's working. Hello?
up.
Okay.
Ah, we got it.
Oh my God. I know it just says my live stream, so I actually just want to change that name because it's really
Oh,
embarrassing
it
to.
says my live stream.
Oh, it says yeah. It just says Pocket Japanese live stream. I'm like, no, we're not doing that.
It works.
Come on, let me change my name. But then here it doesn't say that.
So I'm going to turn off my vertical stream, by the way, because it's bad. Oh, do you want to unshare your screen with me? Because else I'm going to hear myself twice. And I'll be in
Yes.
the infinity screens forever. Ah! Infinity screens bring me so much joy. Like they shouldn't bring me that much joy, but I love them.
Oh, okay. It's the name is corrected as. Oh my God, this is working.
Yay! It was so weird that didn't happen for ages, and now it's suddenly like, oh yeah, by the way, I'm working.
It is, and it's so annoying because not that it's annoying, but it's annoying because it's like the second I showed you, it just worked perfectly.
It's
I'm
like it
like,
works.
that was
Yeah.
really
It's like, oh,
embarrassing.
sorry. Actually, I do know how to do this.
Um,
Yeah, so I think the vertical for me, I think the vertical would have been fine, but it causes so much eating of my connection for
mhm.
my I think because I'm also video calling and sharing screen, my computer is like my internet connection is like, absolutely not. You can do one of those things, but
Choose
you
one.
cannot do three.
I've just realized though, how are you going to watch this stream? Like, how are you going to watch it? If you
What do you
know,
mean?
are you going to
Why
watch
is my
my
camera
stream
blurry?
as well so that I can show you what I'm like? Does that make sense? Like, how are you going to
Do
watch
whatever
it?
you want. You can share your screen and then share your screen through stream. Ooh.
Okay. Are you going to
You
get?
can basically you can basically just make this screen your screen share, and then you can just share it that way.
So you want me to share? Sorry, my brain just like what? You want me to share my screen?
Yeah, and I'm
Um,
also yeah, so you've got the website on your
yes,
screen, and
but
I'll
you're gonna
also
hear
go on
yourself
this.
twice.
Oh, yeah, that's a fucking good point. Hmm.
Maybe if I have my head, I'm not gonna try and put my headphones in again. I have a strange. No, I can't turn the audio off. Why is that so hard? To share audio, share a tab. Okay, let me just turn this on and see if I can like
We'll
do
figure
any.
it out.
Yeah.
We're just 2 girls, just living life. Just trying to figure out how the internet works, you know? It should not be this hard, like, it really shouldn't be this hard.
But it is.
But yeah, but it is. But
The
it
funny
really
thing,
shouldn't be.
whenever I try and share the screen, oh, maybe if I just share a window?
Yes, that's what I did. I shared a window,
Okay,
so I can see your screen, but there's no sound coming through.
got yeah. I'm like I said, I'm just not made
You're
for.
fine, you're fine, you're fine, you're fine, don't worry.
Oh, wait. No, I think I'm sharing this one. Okay,
Great.
cute.
And then I
Okay,
can make that,
and you
uh
can't hear yourself twice, yeah?
no, I can't hear myself. Nope. Nope, nope,
Amazing.
nope. There we go.
Okay,
We
uh,
done it.
let's go. What is my intro for chapter one?
There
I'm
we
so
go.
interested because I don't know either. Okay, little lesson. So you probably you already know this. Japanese doesn't use the Roman alphabet for writing. No, we've done lesson one. We're on.
We're lesson
So
2.
done. So done. I was like, wait.
You're like, "Wow, this seems really familiar."
Hiragana, Satuto. We'll go over this very, very quickly so you can you know your hiragana. We don't really need to,
Yeah.
but just so I've been a good
The
teacher.
chat might not they might not know their
They
hiragana.
might. That's what I was kind of thinking.
Yeah.
So each hiragana study session, we start with two new rows of hiragana. Below we have sa to so and ta to to. Cute.
Hmm.
Okay, and we have them kind of animating, so you can see the stroke order. Just as a note, which might actually be helpful for you as well. This little one
Hmm.
here, it looks different sometimes. So it has two different ways you can handwrite it. I would say the one on the screen, or was on the screen, the one that is all connected is the one that I see most often, but I actually
Mm.
really like this one that's not
Yeah, that
connected.
one's nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just one of those ones that has a few different options, and you might see one when you're learning and be like, what on
Mm.
earth is that? I've never seen that character in my life if you've learned the other way of writing it. This one here, Sa, when you handwrite it, it's meant to be three strokes, not two. When you type it, it just looks like two strokes.
Hmm.
So that little gap is meant to be in there. The
Is
thing
it
that,
like go and call when it's got that like little jump around it, but
yes.
when it's typed, it doesn't look like that?
Yes, exactly that. And my favorite thing about it is when I first started studying, like did a little bit of self-study before, like I actually started taking classes, and I
Mm.
think I wrote it like that every time, and I was like, oh my God, my handwriting is so good. And then when I had to start putting this little gap in, it just looked so bad when I tried to write it. So yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. My writing is awful, and I'm not even going to try and pretend like I can write. I actually can't write or read,
I actually
contrary to
just can't do
popular belief.
it. No,
Somebody literally commented this in one of my recent videos. They were like, "Can you even read?" And I was like, "Oh,
no.
okay. Maybe I can't read."
My favorite thing is when I first started studying, I was like, I am going to have the best handwriting in the class, and I think I gave up after like the
Uh,
second week, and I was like, you
yeah.
know what? My life
It's a
is
f it's a fool's
wasted.
errand, isn't it? It's an absolute fool's errand to try and be the best handwriter in the class.
Well, maybe I'm a fool. It didn't
Me
happen.
too. I don't do it.
Okay, we then have just so I cover it. So we have exact same as always. They follow the typical pattern. So oh no, we've got a few little different ones here. So we have sa, and then we have she, not si.
Sheep.
Fun little fact, a lot of Asian languages don't, or not a lot, I always like lump in, I'm like a lot, and what I really mean
Like all of
is
them.
every single one. And then I'm like, actually, I just mean like the Southeast Asian,
Mm.
Korean, maybe Chinese. I can't guarantee with that one, but Korean doesn't have an SI sound either. It does she as well when you put S
Ah.
and I together. Um, su, se, so,
So
so. Um, where's the other one gone there?
you don't get the there.
We then have ta, chi, su, te, to. Fun little fact, this one doesn't have the little gap in it, and I used to write it with a
Mm.
little gap because I was too
Oh,
prepared.
no.
It does not
Yeah.
have it.
So that's a good way to distinguish them because I always wondered a way of distinguishing them. So Sa has the little gap. No.
Yep.
No, that's yeah, has the gap and then this one doesn't.
I really
Because I
wanted
always get them flipped over.
I was gonna make a really mean comment then, like, why don't you just learn that one faces one way and the other faces the other?
And I've got
Rather than
so I
one has a
learned that.
gap.
That's how I learned it originally. That chi doesn't go the same way as the C sound goes. I know it sounds this is like my neurodivergent ass really coming out, but because I like when you write the English chi, like
Yeah.
it's flipped on itself. So that's the only way I remind myself. It's like it is not what it looks like.
Yes.
Makes no sense, okay, but it works for me.
I like that method. I would say as well, if we're just kind of going for it, the sour one kind of faces more downwards, or like even more just kind of
Mm,
like neutral. Where
mm,
am I making this up? Maybe a little bit, but like whenever I do the chi, I like to kind of like it's more like diagonal upwards.
mm.
Um, if that's any help, but yeah, no, it. I honestly to this day, I will probably not to say, but even
Yeah,
occasionally, if I'm like looking at a new word, there is a small chance I will read a chi
yeah.
as a sa. They are really similar, like
They
they are
are, yeah.
basically just little
It's
flipped.
even worse when you get into katakana as well. That's
Yeah,
why I hate it so much.
and
I
like oh
hate
my god, all the
it.
smiley faces.
Yeah.
We have Su. I remember a lot of people call it like a tsunami, which makes it
Oh,
really easy to remember.
yeah.
Te, to, nice and easy.
Kettle. Yeah.
Oh, also, if anyone's watching, I do actually really recommend looking up mnemonics. There's tons of apps that use them now as well. If I had all the time in the world, I'd make my own, but I
Mm.
do not for some reason.
Like
But they
kids'
really
nursery
help.
rhymes and stuff are good. Like songs and stuff are good for that,
Yeah,
aren't they? Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, really good. I yeah, okay, let's go.
No, I haven't made it to kanji yet. I have in my own personal exploration. We've seen a bit of kanji, but we've not made it to kanji. I don't think we ever make it to it just comes, it follows us round.
Follows, and no one ever truly learns kanji.
No, no one ever makes it to kanji.
Okay, let's go over a little grammar note here. So whenever you see a little su, it means the first character of the next syllable is extended.
Mhm.
So for example, we
Nachi.
have zashi here, um, which means magazine. So we have this little su in here, which means the first character, or like, this is a very English way of looking at it as well, but it
Mhm.
means the first character is extended. So we don't have one S, we have two. And this is kind of difficult, um, or I don't think that's the best way of explaining it. I would think of it as two syllables. So you have za and then you have shi. And it
Mhm.
means that this little s here is in the first syllable. So sash
Mm.
and then shi. It's a really hard one to do with like a
Mm.
shi or one, but sashi, sashi. Um,
Zashi.
there's easier ones to do that with, and I really hope I put one in here. Um, so Zashi has a little suit. There is a proper name for it, but I don't like jargon.
Yeah,
So
good.
we just go with the little suit.
Minisu.
No one remembers it. If I give it like all its
Yeah.
proper names, they're just, and then you mention it like 3 lessons later, people are like, "What are you on about?" If you call it the little
Yeah.
suit, everyone knows what
Little
you're
Sue.
talking about.
Yeah. Mhm.
So in the middle, therefore the S from the she in the in the next syllable is extended. If you're ever stuck on which sound should be extended, it's always the consonant after the su. If it were the vowel before, we would simply add another vowel. And this is like really, really important because if you're an idiot like me, um, you'll be sat there like, wow, I wonder what is meant to be extended. Was it the last E or was it the next K? Because I was just like that. Um,
Mm.
if it was the E, if it was the character before, you would just add another vowel because they all end in E apart from N. They don't all
Mhm.
end in E, they all end in a vowel apart from N. And
Mhm.
you would just add that character again. It's always going to be the next sound because that's always going to be a consonant and it's not going to be something you can just add again. So we're
Mhm.
gonna add a K to the first syllable of kekon, of this word here.
Mhm.
Kekon, kekon.
Kekko.
Yeah, we got gakko. We're just gonna add a K to the first syllable, so gakko.
Gakko. I've seen this one a lot.
Yes. And then we got presentation, which is happyo.
Pure.
Cool.
Oh my god, my voice. I'm
It
like a little teenage boy then. I just lost my
it's
voice.
it's almost like you prepare to say the next part of the word
Yeah.
before you get onto it. Like it's not like you have to be full on there like kek con or something like that, but it's like you're preparing to say it before you get to it almost.
Mm.
Kek con.
Mhm.
Okay, we're not gonna play the mini game because we
Play the mini game in your own time, guys. We don't have time for games.
exactly. Okay, word list. Whee! Video,
Yay.
which we're not gonna watch because we are the video.
Yeah.
Okay, one, and I'm going to click them as we go along. So we have I/me. They don't differentiate between the two, which is really nice. You've just learned 2 words in one.
Mhm.
私、
Watashi.
Watashi.
We then have you,
あなた、
anata.
Anata.
Cool, perfect.
Mhm.
We then have she/her, and I'm actually going to give a few little notes on these words whilst we're doing this live. She/her and he/him. I would say like in Japanese they don't use like she and he as often
No,
as we
I've
probably.
noticed.
Yeah.
I know it took me ages to figure out. I know this is anime related, but what kimi is? I was like, "What the frick is kimi? Where has this word come from? I've never heard this." And then it was very informal way of saying you?
Um, yeah, it's for people you're really close with.
Oh, right. Okay.
So
So
you
I'd never
probably
say it to anyone.
yeah. You probably don't just want to call it like even like I probably wouldn't call a best friend Kimia. It's like more kind of
Oh,
like
Is it like an endearing
really
thing?
yeah.
Oh, that's probably why I hear it in a lot of music because it's like a love song. So it's
Yeah.
like an ode to your lover, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Ah, okay. I better not be throwing that one around then. Give people the wrong idea.
So that's why my boss gave me a weird
Yeah, I was like, "What? I thought you'd like that."
look.
Okay, good to know.
So it's more kind of you would use their names. It's the same even
Mm.
with Anata. There's actually just as a note with this, there's kind of like a big thing where a lot of people are kind of scared to use Anata because they think it's like rude to use
Like, quite
Anata.
directive?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's not rude to use it. Like it's not like there's not like some kind of conspiracy where all of the textbooks are keep like teaching you to use anatta because they think it's really funny watching all the foreigners like
That's so sad.
saying anatta to people.
Uh,
So like you can use it. I remember I went through a phase of like how do I avoid using it in every single
yeah.
situation? Like you can use anatta
It
but
is
you're
quite especially for British people, using the word "you" is quite strong,
yeah.
I'd say.
It I would s yeah, it depends on the situation though as well, because sometimes I'm just like, "Oh, but didn't you pick that up?" or something. Like, that's not, like, mean
Mm,
or something. Like, you just wanna know,
yeah.
"Oh, didn't you say you were gonna go to the shop yesterday?"
Is that your car? Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
you would yeah, people I guess British people are like, "Oh my god, how dare you?
Is that your car?
Is that your car?"
But yeah, basically, if you know their name, use their name.
Yeah.
If you're in a situation where you have to use you and there's nothing else you can say, then
Mm,
use you. Like, don't
mm,
worry about it. Um, Kanojo again, it it's not as often used. If you know their name, use their name.
mm. 彼女.
Perfect. We then have he slash him, same situation. If you know his name, use his name, but it is an option.
彼
Got it.
Kare.
My
Cool.
Duolingo's coming in clutch now. This is all I learned.
We then have teacher. A lot of people know this one already.
We should, yes, we should.
先
Sensei.
生
Sensei, perfect.
Sensei.
It's kind of like a longer so like sensei.
Sensei.
Cool. Um,
Arigato.
so fun little word with the word teacher. Fun little fact about the word teacher. You can use it. It actually means just kind of like
Yeah.
professional, like someone who's really
Yeah.
honorable in their like field. Doctors and things like that, you might refer to your doctor as sensei, etc.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it doesn't make sense, but I've seen it used a lot.
Yeah.
Like I've seen it again used in anime, which I know is the marker for everything.
The magnet.
Honestly.
Yeah. We then have student, which you might know.
学生
Gakusei. I was
No
like, wait,
idea.
are you gonna say
Gakusei? I was like, am I gonna say? I don't know if I would say it.
it? You can say
Gakusei?
it. Cool. Yeah.
Sorry.
Um, nice little fact. You got the same kanji happening here. Kind of means like life, things like that.
Aw.
We don't have this one here, which means like study.
Mm.
Scholar. I don't know, but yeah, school.
So it's like a possession of the thing that you're studying. Is that why it's like next to it?
No, these just together they make the word student.
Oh, okay.
Me wanting to be like yes,
I know. I think I just try and find patterns in things. I need to like not find patterns in things, but it makes sense in my brain.
It's like I don't know, study life.
Yeah, study life. Love that.
Study life. This one up here means like oh the pun. This kanji actually really annoys me because I know its meanings are like previous and ahead, and I'm just like
Oh,
yes, I get that. I actually this is one of those kanji where I'm like I wish I
previous and ahead.
yeah.
Is that because you sit within knowing things previously, but you're also teaching the next round of people, so you're ahead?
I love the philosophy for the
Yeah, sorry, that was a yeah,
um,
philosophy law.
I mean, this kanji is used for a lot of things, so
Right.
s- I would love to be like, yeah, yeah, that's the reason, but it probably isn't.
No,
Um,
100% is it not.
but in this, I like to think of this one as like ahead in life. I'm a teacher. I'm
Yeah.
ahead. I'm ahead in my current. I don't know.
Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one is easier. If we're going to look at the kanji, which we might as well do now because we're in
Yeah.
a habit of
The
this.
kanji has caught us eventually. We did say. And it's here
So
now.
this one
It's really
means
great.
sun, the first kanji. The second one means book or origin, and in this case, it's going
Aw.
to mean origin. So Japan is the origin of the sun.
The origin of the whole sun.
Everything, it all originated
Great.
there.
I love that. That's what I believe as well.
So we have Japan, which you might have heard.
日本、
Mhm.
Nihon.
Nihon.
Yes.
Easy
We then have
peasy.
Go, which is language. Honestly, you're not going to use it just like this. I just put it on here because we are going to connect it to the end of a few words to get Eigo and Nihongo. But 1 second,
Mhm.
語、
you're
Go?
not going to just use it like that, like ever.
No.
英語、
Ego.
Eigo. This one we're gonna break it down very, very quickly until I get bored of breaking these down. So this means hero. So hero language. I don't know why they came up with that one. I feel like most other countries are like, nah.
Hero language for English.
Yes.
Oh.
I imagine it didn't actually mean that when they came up to I think it's probably that they wanted like some kanji that sounded similar to something they could come up with for I'll find this out actually. I always find
That's
this
an interesting one.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I imagine someone in England was like, we want that kanji.
That looks really cool and we want that.
Yeah, not even looks. Probably they were just like, hey, this one has the right sound. This one sounds
Yeah.
similar enough. Can we have the one that's hero? And
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I imagine this went down.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I would imagine that too.
I'll look it up if I get a break in a moment, and I'll have it by the end of the class. We then have Nihongo, which is obviously Nihon plus Go.
Nihongo.
日本語、
Cool.
Oh.
We then have some of my favorite words, Inu.
Yeah, Inu.
犬、
Inu.
And this one just is kind of like big
A
plus
man
a little tail.
holding a poo bag.
Yeah. Yes. I've never heard that one, but yes.
猫、
Neko.
Cat.
None of mine are in here. No.
It's a cat. As you can see,
Yeah.
that is a cat.
It looks like a cat, yes.
I wonder if it has something to do with like cats being on rice fields because it's got rice field kanji in there, etc. I don't know. Maybe they were there to keep
Oh.
away the rats, but
I was gonna say that was very common, wasn't it? Everyone used to keep cats to keep like rats at bay.
yeah.
Yeah.
We then have the subject marker, which is the ha hiragana, but it is pronounced wa.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And we have to be, which is this.
This.
Cool. We're not going to go over the sentences. You can go over those in your own time. They're related to the lesson, so they're good to look at after the lesson.
Mm.
We're not going to go over the kanji study because there's not really much I can do here, but this week's kanji would be watashi.
Mm-hmm.
Day slash what's wrong with me? Like actually no, that is probably more right because I'm not going to read all of these readings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Day slash san and book slash origin, which we did a moment ago.
Mm-hmm.
And there's little words if you want to look at little words, and a little game if you want to play a little game in your own time. Okay.
In the session, outside of the session.
Are we doing this time? We're definitely doing sentence structuring. Let's see.
Yay!
So English is is a subject verb object language, meaning we also start with this. So both languages are going to start with the subject. We follow up with the verb and then the object. Japanese is subject object verb, which means it starts with the subject, followed by the object, and ends with the verb. If you have never learned another foreign language before, this is the part where everyone is like, yes, yeah. If you haven't,
I'm fine with it. Yeah.
amazing. Oh, the rain is
Doesn't mean that anybody else is, but I studied psycholinguistics and I found that very fascinating.
You got this. Okay.
Yeah, it's my favorite bit.
Okay, so in English we would say Layla eats ramen. In Japanese we would say Layla ramen eats.
Yes.
Let's break it down. So we have the subject. The subject is the thing performing the action in the sentence. Let's look at some examples with both Japanese and English structuring. So everything that's highlighted is the subject. It is the first sentences are the English, the second sentences are the Japanese. I don't feel like I need to say that, but just in case I
No.
do.
We do have some people who don't speak, like, English isn't a native
Exactly.
language, which is quite
Exactly.
interesting.
And honestly, like it's a good chance to kind of practice both English whilst learning a second
Yeah.
or probably a third language at this point,
Yeah.
or fourth. So it is a book. It a book is.
Mhm.
She is a ballerina. She a ballerina is. English. My dog sleeps with a teddy. Japanese. My dog with a teddy sleeps.
Mhm.
English. The student is tired. Japanese. The student tired is.
Perfect.
If you find identifying the subject hard, you are not alone. You'll get better at it in time. Until then, here is a tip. Both languages start with the subject, and I would say roughly 70% of the time, if you start your Japanese sentence how you would start you do start your Japanese sentence how you start your English. There's exceptions to this, especially when questions come into play, but genuinely, like, oh, I'm sorry, there's someone in my chat. I just didn't notice.
Oh,
Sanjay
they're like,
syllable,
hello,
which
help me.
is surprising because syllable is like cool down that way. But if you're still there, sorry, I just didn't have the chat open. Okay, so you start, yeah. So basically, this is really obvious to some people, and I feel stupid saying it, but it wasn't obvious to me. The Japanese sentence usually starts the same as the English sentence. So, like, whatever you're starting your Japanese sentence with is probably what you're starting your English sentence with. This isn't 100% of the time. Like, especially questions don't follow this pattern. It's because English, kind of, we go off with questions. We don't start our questions
Yeah,
with
our
the
questions
subject.
are so confusing. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, this is it just really helps to kind of think, if you're stuck there, like, how do I structure this sentence? It's probably going to start with the same as your English sentence.
Yeah.
It's not 100% like, but they are both subject first structures. Okay,
The thing that's being verbed.
Yeah.
Love it.
So talking accurately, the object is the object that is being acted upon. More simply, it's the thing that's being verbed. So that's not
Yeah.
a word, but English is fun and lets us pretend it's a word.
Yeah.
Even more simply, although there are rules and orders that are best to follow, and you'll learn them as we go along, I once heard the object described as find the subject, find the verb, chuck everything else in the middle. Probably wasn't described so casually, but it's something along those lines. Um, this there are, so basically when it comes to Japanese and the objects, there are kind of like rules for the order of things that should go in the middle. At the same time, it's quite a flexible language as long as you put your verb at the end. So yeah, try not to worry about it too much. At the same time, don't go too freestyle. But yeah.
Just make up your own.
Yeah. Let's look at the object examples in English and Japanese. We'll keep the subject in teal. So in orange, we have our object. She ate a sushi roll. English. Japanese, she sushi. Do you want to read these?
Yeah, I don't think I can read sushi roll though. That would break my brain.
So maybe that's why I made you like read it
Yeah,
then.
that's a horrible one. She sushi roll ate. She ate queen. He didn't do his homework. He homework didn't do.
Mhm.
My mum drinks coffee. My mum coffee drinks. My Japanese teacher made a Japanese course. My Japanese teacher Japanese course made.
That is a tongue twister.
Yeah.
I once heard someone say the sentence structure for Japanese sounds
Does sound a
like
bit like that. Yeah,
the
I was
funny
hearing that bit.
that like it really does. It works quite
Mm.
well, that little tip. Unless you don't watch any Star Wars, in which
So
case
I've
it
only
doesn't
watched
work.
one. I've watched one. Can't make it through anymore. I'm sorry.
You know what? Everyone hates the newer ones, but I quite liked the newer ones because I just found them easier. I found
It's
I
more
probably can't
palatable.
say it. Yeah, they're more palatable
Yeah.
and
Mm.
Anakin.
Yeah, and if obviously I didn't watch Star Wars when I was growing up, so I don't have that nostalgia to it. So I'd
Yeah,
enjoy the newer stuff because it's more visually pleasing to me.
I think the first time I probably did watch it as a kid because I probably did, but I think the
Mm.
first time I watched it knowing I was watching it was when I was
Yeah.
like 14 or 15. I found the older ones really hard to watch.
They're
But
so
then
convoluted.
yeah, and I think the first one when it was just like the kid racing, I have like I feel like I must have watched it when I was ill or something because all in my head is this kid racing for like hours. Like
Like
I feel like it went
this
on for a
fever
really long
dream of this kid racing. You're like, why did this child stop? Please. Having nightmares about this child. That's so funny.
racing.
It's amazing our associations between certain things, isn't
I
it?
I don't think I could ever watch that film again because in my
No,
head all it
fair.
is hours of a kid
You're
like
like,
racing.
when is this gonna end? Love that.
I love that I lost the view.
Yeah.
He's like, I want this racing to end.
Yeah, please help.
A verb is a doing word which makes it quite easy to identify. There's a few difficult ones to identify if you don't know what to look for. For example, existing/being is an action, therefore
Hell yeah, it
is
is.
is a verb.
It really freaking is. You're so right.
Do you want to read these?
The cat drank milk. The cat milk drank. My brain went chef.
The chef.
The chef cooked gyoza. The chef gyoza cooked. The kids ran to school. The kids to school ran. The lawyer went to work. The lawyer to work went.
Amazing.
Thank you. I read. I can read.
This is you trying. I actually told you the sentences beforehand
Yeah,
to kind of like
feeding sounds everything.
so you can trick people into
I can.
thinking. Okay, if you're ever struggling with sentence structure, the verb is usually the easiest part to identify. You can work back from there, have fun. Like every
Mhm.
sentence you say, what is the
To be
verb?
fair, when I was doing Duolingo, that's kind of what I do sometimes.
Yeah,
I'll start with like the beginning bit, go to the end bit, and then kind of put the bits in the middle.
yeah. It
Yeah,
really
that
is like,
seems like it works.
yeah. Just because like I feel like a lot of people find what is the doing word of a sentence really easy to identify.
Yes.
Okay, let's practice. We are not practicing. You can do that in your own time.
Games for
But
us.
this is just a kind of like put it in the right order for Japanese.
Mhm.
The verb to be, des, is am are.
Yes.
Whee, video. We are not watching it because we are the video
Mhm.
again. Okay, so the verb to be, des. Des is a copula. That means it links subjects and predicates. However, if you're
Exactly.
me and that means nothing to you,
Yeah, literally, that was nonsense.
you were there like, yes, I understand.
Wow.
Got it. More simply, it's usually translated as to be in English, and to a lot of people, that still does not mean a lot. So, in Japanese, the verb to be is not conjugated. Therefore, des means is, am, and are. It
What
means
does
all of these
conjugated
words.
mean?
Conjugated means me like yes. So
Yes. Let me just Google it.
news as a viewer.
Stop
So
asking questions, woman.
you know what? No one's ever asked me that.
I don't know what, like, I just don't know what
So
words mean
it
half the
means the
time. I feel like we
form.
just say them.
I believe, and Google might tell me something different, but I mean it means I believe it means like the form is changed depending on its usage. Um, but I'm actually
Mm.
gonna get you a proper answer for that.
I have no idea what that means.
I mean,
Conjugated.
chemistry, biochemistry, grammar.
No. I guess it means it changes the form depending on the depending on the pronoun. Like I am, you
Yeah,
are.
yeah. It's just
Okay, Volpe, your non-native language, go away.
but it is that
He,
it,
she, it is.
it means like just kind of changing it to fit in with what you need it to
So
do.
it can kind of go anywhere
Yeah,
and do
yeah.
anything.
So like this is all the same word in English. This all means the exact same thing. Is means the same as am, and it means the same as are. However, we change it depending on the words around us, whether it's like third person, first person who we're talking about.
Right.
So we conjugate it like just to fit into the sentence, whether we're talking in
Oh.
third person. Third person.
Right.
Did I just say third person twice?
So when, yeah, third, there's so many of them.
What a weird people.
So because is not conjugated, I mean it can't change to different things. It
Yeah,
always stays the same. Stays
not
the same.
conjugated. Yeah, it means that we don't change it.
Right.
So
Right,
it's
right,
des
right.
for all of these. So in English we would say I am a student.
Right.
In English they would say gakusei desu. In English we would say he is a student. In Japanese they would say gakusei desu. Yeah, so it
Aha.
means all of
Okay.
these.
Okay. So it just does lots of things for one word, one set
Yeah,
of
yeah.
things.
Well, it's more
Okay, cool.
that we use a stupid amount of words for the same thing.
Yeah, we're not even that poetic in the way that we use them, so it's kind of a missed opportunity, really.
Exactly. Because des is a verb as well, and this is one of the verbs I would say is kind of harder to identify if you don't know. Not that it's hard to identify because I've just told you and it's the first verb we come across.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's one of the ones where like you're like, oh, is am and are verbs? Yeah.
Yes. To
It,
be
it,
is a verb.
and it
Being
comes.
is a verb.
It is. We are being.
Mm.
So it comes at the end of a sentence. Nice and easy. If you don't know where to put your des, it's going at the end of the sentence.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Let's look at some examples. I'm gonna see if you can read these,
Fuck.
and if you want, I can put this up here or I can leave it as it is.
Right, here we go. I've also got shit eyesight, so I'm gonna have to lean into the screen a little bit. All right, Kanaja wa gakusei desu.
Perfect. So she is
Uh,
a student.
she's a student. What? Sorry, I'm going to the I am a teacher now. Watashi wa sensei desu.
Mm-hmm.
Ka. Oh fuck. Kanoja? No.
Karera.
Karera. Oh yeah, because it's like a bunch of them, isn't it?
Yes. Bunch of them. Yeah, sure. That would be they. Yes.
English is my first language, I promise. I'm just from the southwest. I can't speak.
Well, our education system isn't that
Our
good.
education system is so bad. So, hare ra
Mm-hmm.
wa
Mm-hmm.
gakusei desu.
Yeah, perfect. Karera wa gakusei desu. So we have here all these deses mean different things in English. So we have she is a student, des highlighted is. We have they are students, des is highlighted are. And we have I am a teacher, des is highlighted as am.
Mm-hmm.
You may have noticed a strange wa. So basically, we've not done the wa particle yet. If you've never studied before and you don't know what that wa is, don't worry, we're gonna get onto it.
Mm. Oh yeah, I've kind of glossed over that because I do know what it is, but yeah, I
Exactly.
appreciate that it's not easy.
So, as a native English speaker with very little knowledge of languages before studying Japanese, I always wondered what they meant by the verb to be. As mentioned above, it's generally seen as is, am, or are in English. However, a fun way of looking at it would be a pirate, and they actually they kind of use it how
They
it
do.
is. So for example, I don't want to do this, but I feel
No,
like
I don't want to do it.
damn it.
Go on, I'll do it. I'll do it. I'll lean
Okay,
into the bit.
silly too, but yeah, it's yours. No, it's okay.
So are you. No.
Okay, I'll do it. Don't worry.
Go on.
I always have to read it to my students.
Yeah.
So by that I mean how a pirate might not say is am an R, but instead use be.
Or God.
You
Sounds like you're
just
from
did it.
Devon.
You just did it.
Are you be a fine crew?
Amazing.
She be a student. Be a teacher.
I like how it started off so well.
And then it just divulged into the southwest.
I also love how you like refuse to do it and
I know the inclusive thoughts one. I just started doing it. Oh God, it's awful. It's awful.
so basically, if you struggle with Japanese, just think of your sentences how a pirate might talk.
I said, yeah. Oh, that's really sad though.
Pirate
Just
Yoda.
every time I see a Japanese person, I'm like, you speak like a pirate. Like it makes no sense to me.
I think the best part though is then we start like we get our pirate and we get our Yoda together. Like you got Pirate
Yeah.
Yoda.
We're really distilling the beauty of the Japanese language.
Okay, wa.
Wow.
Yeah. Wa. The topic particle wa marks the topic of a sentence. It uses the ha hiragana, but it's pronounced wa. This and the exceptions that we're going to put below
Mm-hmm.
are the only time you'll see the wa pronounced as wa. So the wa hiragana pronounced as wa. There might be some more I've missed, but you're not going to come across them anytime soon. I hope.
Mm-hmm.
Fingers crossed. Okay, konnichiwa uses the ha hiragana, but it's pronounced wa. Konbanwa uses the ha hiragana, but it's pronounced wa. These are both words we'll do pretty soon. And equals is ha hiragana, but pronounced wa.
Why?
So I actually think I know the answer to this one, but I might
Okay.
be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I believe I read somewhere that these used to be like a longer phrase or something, and it got
Okay.
no, I've just had a mind um
Blank.
no, not blank. I think it's not that. I think so basically this can be like making my own reason up. I think it's because you can kind of use the wa hiragana to ask a question. So this part here, konichi, is saying this day. So you're basically saying, how is this? So as for this day, kind of thing, is
Mm-hmm.
what's happening here. So it's just kind of like, good day. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I believe that could be what's happening. So, for example, say I wanted to ask like how is school going? And don't try and do this just randomly, but maybe I want to start talking about school with you. I could be
Mm-hmm.
like, gakko wa? Like I can just leave
Mm-hmm.
it as that. Like it's like you're introducing the subject of good day, this day, or something like that. I believe it could be because of that. Like you don't actually need to finish that sentence. You've just introduced it. I have heard it used to be a longer phrase or something like that, so and it got
Right.
shortened to konnichiwa. But
Interesting.
looking at it now, it might not need to be extended any further.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Konbanwa.
That's very fast because I always wondered why it didn't kind of fit that pattern. I know we have that a lot in English as well, but it's just interesting when it's so obvious.
Mhm. Okay, so what is a particle? Particles are small words that indicate relations of words within a sentence. Most Japanese learners are not fond of their particles. Yes. We have them in English too, such as I go to the shop versus I go in the shop. However, Japanese has a few extra particles we don't have, which is why you might find them difficult. They also don't use the English ones in the exact same way. Oh, not the English ones. The
Like
ones
the
that
English
English
system.
does
Yeah.
have. Sorry,
Yeah.
that wasn't even me like being like the English ones. It was me not reading correctly and missing two
It's
words.
the font is small, to be fair.
It is, yeah. I need to like up it. I was messing around with the website, and I somehow made all of the fonts really small. Let's look at an example. Watashi wa gakusei desu. I
Mhm.
am a student. So the wa particle, did I even introduce the wa particle that we're talking about there? Okay, no, but whatever. Um, the wa particle is placed directly after the topic, marking what came before as the topic. This particle says, hey, this part of the sentence is the topic.
Right. So I'm the topic if I say that.
hmm
Wow.
Whatever is after the wa is whatever is before the wa is basically the topic. That's what's happening there.
Right.
So watashi is the topic. If you
hmm
said um
Is that why you drop it? You can drop the topic sometimes in like casual conversation. So if you're talking about she, sometimes you drop the she, right?
yeah. So we'll get onto that in a bit, but there basically once it's obvious what you're talking about, you can drop it.
Yeah.
Don't get into the
It's the
habit of
same in like
yeah.
normal conversation, right? You wouldn't keep saying and she's like you wouldn't do
Yeah.
that.
They just
Yeah.
drop it a tiny bit more than we do though. So
Yeah.
they like the second it so like for example, I think I said this earlier in a previous one, but if in English we might say I went to the supermarket and I bought a dog. I don't know
hmm
why. And then I went home. In
yeah.
Japanese, they would say, I went to the supermarket, bought a
Bought a
dog,
dog,
went home.
went home. Again, it's very like if we did that in English, it would be seen as quite lazy English, I
Yeah,
suppose.
bought a
Or
dog,
like
went
very
home.
casual.
Very
Yeah.
casual.
Yeah.
I went to the supermarket, bought a dog,
Bought a
went
dog,
home.
came home. Yeah. There it
Yeah.
be.
So the word particle is placed directly after the topic, marking what came before as the topic. The particle says, yeah, hey, this part of the
hmm
sentence is the topic, because why not? Context and
Cute.
translation. Few languages have this particle. There are a few that have it, but
hmm
hello. There we go. Japanese and Korean are most known for it, and some other languages, such as Mongolian, have similar grammatical features. I believe, and I could be wrong. Someone told me some of the Indian languages might have it, or if not, they have the same sentence structuring.
Oh.
Yeah. In short, is a new concept for many Japanese learners. I want to get imagine as well. No. One of the difficulties of the topic particle is that it doesn't
Yeah.
have an English translation. And this is like one of the areas you will like slip up if you really try and over translate it to English.
Mm.
This leaves you with two options, detailed below. It probably leaves you with more if you want to look up more options, like crying.
hmm
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it leaves you with a few options basically.
Yeah.
Do not get into the habit of translating what as
Yeah.
it is. Won't work. I did it. Did not work. Probably set me back. Probably helped me fail one of my exams, which I could have done without doing that, but probably speed ran me towards it.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
So
I
yeah.
always think of it in my mind, it's always like it's the like
Mm,
that's like the thing I'm talking about.
it's
So I don't
the. It's
yeah,
definitely
it's like
not the.
right? It's like it's a very like yeah, I can see how it's difficult,
hmm
but in my brain it really helps me segment the sentence structure a lot quicker
hmm
when I'm reading. I think oh, I can immediately pull out like what the point of that sentence is. Even though I may not understand all the words, I can kind of restructure it slightly.
Really.
Helps.
Um, that I've never tried. I know a lot of people try and do that with the gar particle, and
Mm,
it can work in some cases. I can't guarantee you it'll work forever, but I will be
that's fine by
interested in
me.
coming back in like 10 or
6 months.
20 lessons and being like, do you still do it as the
Yeah,
the
I don't think maybe I won't need to once I feel that familiar with it,
or
but
maybe
who
you'll
knows?
need it more when we get
Yeah,
onto the
who
next
knows?
one. Okay, so your first option that I'm going to give you, again, you're
Mm.
welcome to just look this up even more and cry. No. um, your first option is to practice and get good at identifying the topic of the sentence. This is also probably the best way to do it, as it means you have
Yeah.
a better understanding of the Japanese sentence structure. So basically, what I'm saying here is like you can be a good student and
Mm.
get used to Japanese sentence structuring and learn how to do it.
Just do it properly.
Yeah. What I will say is most people struggle with that. I had one or
Yeah.
two students that could just do that naturally. Just they were great with that kind of stuff. Everyone else is like Yeah.
Mm.
At the same time, I'm actually going to mention as well. So I had when I was studying Korean,
Mm.
my teachers just didn't explain it, and they were like,
Oh,
use it like
really?
this. And unless maybe everyone was internally struggling and no one wanted to say, which is 100% possible because they were
Yeah.
really intensive classes, and I think a lot of people were maybe a bit like embarrassed to say if they're like struggling
Mm.
with all the like particles that we have to use every day.
Yeah.
And whereas they're like, I will fail this. Give me 2 rounds. It's gonna take me 2 rounds.
That's so stressful though if they don't explain it to you, so you don't really know what
So
to look out for.
I, as far as I'm aware, most students didn't struggle with it because they just had
Mm.
to use it.
Yeah.
It wasn't over explained. It wasn't like, here's your way of learning it. As far as and they have more parts, oh, they don't have more, but they have like, they don't have just wa, they have e slash, no, nun. So they have two versions of it,
Mm.
depending on whether it ends in a vowel or a consonant in Korean, which is fun because they like their
Yeah.
like sentences to like flow well.
Right.
But yeah, our teacher just never explained it, and it kind of worked with our class. And I
Good.
even, when I'm explaining the girl particle now, I kind of use their way of explaining it because, or
Yeah,
not
which is like
explaining
don't.
it.
We don't talk about the GAR particle, it just exists. You just gotta know it.
Honestly, like,
Yeah.
so I'm actually going to do a write-up on the GARP article at some point because I do know I do need to explain it. But a lot of my students, I just didn't explain the GARP article to. I just told them use it here, and it worked pretty well.
I suppose sometimes if you over explain things, then maybe people trip themselves up with like the rule-based
Yeah, yeah,
aspect of it and it feels less natural.
yeah. I really think it was a case of like, oh, they don't know, so it's just really like they have to just use it how they see it, which is kind of natural, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay. And it also stopped them from confusing unnun and iga, so the wa and the ga
Mm.
particle in Japanese. Many people struggle with wa, and therefore a lot of methods to make it easier have been thought up. The one I recommend is thinking of wa as for. So with this method, anything before the wa particle is translated as for.
As for
Kanatowa.
her,
Yeah, as
sounds
for her, is
sounds
student
so
is.
aggressive. As for her, it's a student.
The funny thing is, every time I have to do this now, I look at it and I'm like, why did I choose that sentence? Because as for her, is student does not make life
Yeah.
easier.
No, but it yeah, that's a very British way of speaking as well. It makes me laugh.
As for her.
As for her, is student.
Just as a note, they don't use a or the.
No. Mm-mm.
I'm not gonna make you do that. I have a strange feeling this could be the end. Did I mention wa and des will appear in future lessons solely in hiragana to force people to
Hell yeah.
whether I actually follow that, I can't remember, but I hope I do.
You're like, I may do that. I don't know.
Okay, that's it. Yeah,
Yay!
we're done. We're goodbye. Get out of here. Go. It's enough.
That's great. I appreciate it. I hope you have a nice day or
Yeah,
evening.
same. Same.
Yeah. Okay.
I hope I
Well,
have a nice evening too. No, sorry.
you too. Have a nice
Yeah, you
evening,
too.
and I'll see you next week.
Okay, let's see how long it takes me to figure out how to close this
Yes.
stream.
I'm gonna end the call, and then at least you can't hear me.
Okay, cool.
Bye.
Bye, see ya.